Today, I thought I would share some of my story with you, specifically about how I quit alcohol over 7 years ago now, and the impacts that had on my life, and the way it changed myself, and the way it changed others and affected others around me, and just, yeah, my journey with that. So grab yourself a cup of tea or a cacao and pull up a seat and join me as I share my story. So we're going back to when I was 31. So now you all know how old I am. And I was living in Melbourne, Australia at the time. I worked in corporate. It was a nationwide company. It was a massive company. And our team was pretty high up there in the company. It was like one of the more important teams. And we did a lot of client entertainment as part of our role, and that involved drinking alcohol. And this is just sort of painting a picture for you. So we drank with clients on lunches, and then on the days that we didn't have client lunches, we would just walk across the road to the Dan Murphy's and grab like cans of rosé and have them with our lunch. And then you always, like when you get home from work, you would just have a glass of wine to wind down. And this was just the norm. Like, it's like, I don't know how to word it, whether you would be like, yeah, you were an alcoholic or a functioning alcoholic, because I wouldn't have said that I was, but I feel like it was a drinking problem. And I would say the majority of our culture has a drinking problem. And prefacing this by saying these are my beliefs and my opinions. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions, but I would say the majority of Australians have a drinking problem, if not the world. So I would have said it was a problem, but yeah, it was something that I clearly could stop. So we drank a lot for work. We drank on our lunch breaks. We drank after work. We would go as a team and have drinks after work as well. And then obviously have a glass in the evening and a couple of glasses on the weekend just to enjoy life. And I remember the specific day. It was a New Year's Day, and I was out having a drink with someone, having a glass of champagne, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a break for a year, and I'm going to stop drinking, and I'm going to see what happens for a year. And then it was never going to be for life. It was just like I'm going to do a reset. I'm just going to stop drinking for a while, and when I feel like drinking again, maybe I'll drink again. And that was the beginning of it all. And I'm an all or nothing person. So I just kind of went hard. I was like, yep, I'm not going to drink anymore. And it really affected my job. Like, it affected those around me. They were worried about how I was going to be able to do my job if I wouldn't drink. And I'm like, I don't need alcohol to hold a conversation with somebody. I can articulate myself. I can get my points across. I am quite confident as a person. And I never really felt socially awkward. So that side of things, luckily for me, wasn't an issue. But it was an issue for everyone else. They were concerned about how I was going to be able to do my job, which kind of shows you part of the problem here, that our society thinks they can't even do their job without alcohol. And it became a bit of an issue for the team because they were like, well, we're all going to go for drinks. And I'm like, cool, go for drinks. Like, I don't need to. And I probably only stayed there I think I was there for another 7 months. And I don't think it affected my performance at all. And I was still included in the team. Like, it all went fine. And then I chose to leave. They were quite upset when I left, but it was because I was moving to Western Australia at the time. And I think I was starting to slowly realize, the longer it was that I was without alcohol, how much I had been numbing out of life. And this has been a big part of my realization afterwards, because it's kind of in hindsight, and you really need to give it a big chunk of time before you start to see the shifts and the impacts that it was having on you. Like, when you do a month, I did a month of dry July, and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. But I don't think that's enough to really notice the impacts. And so I moved to Western Australia and I was not drinking, and I started to realize that I just started to see the patterns in life of like, all right, so you work for a couple of years, you quit your job, you burn out, then you go back and do another admin role or like, corporate role, and then it happens again. So I was like, okay, I've got to change the way I'm doing life. And it was just beginning to give me more awareness around how I was living. And I think that's when my spiritual journey really started, and I kind of went really hard into that. And I think whenever you give up something, it has to be replaced by something else. Otherwise, you're just going to go back to it. And I think I replaced it with spirituality, and I dove really deep into that. And I have pulled back a lot on that realm because, again, I think I gave it too much power over my life. But as well, I think it was needed. I went through, I guess you would say, a big healing journey, and I did my Reiki training through then, and I started to feel a lot and it was good and bad. So I was noticing that there was more joy in my life, but with that, there was the other end of the spectrum where I could get really like deep in it and feel all these like dark, heavy feelings. And that was so overwhelming, and I didn't know how to cope with that. And that's probably why I was drinking, like in hindsight, was so that I didn't have to deal with how I felt and my emotions. And alcohol just numbs you out. I don't know if you guys have heard that saying, alcohol is the only drug that you have to explain why you don't have it anymore. So yeah, I went deep into the spiritual path. And I think one of the things I noticed when I was in social situations where people were drinking, and you could tell they were getting to the point where they were, you know, having drinks, and they would be like, oh, just have a drink. And I'm, like I said, I'm a very strong individual. So I'm like, no, I don't drink. I'm good. And you could tell how uncomfortable they were with it, because they could see they were at that tipping point of having had too much, and they knew that they were probably going to do things and act in a way that was embarrassing to them. And they didn't want me being sober and seeing it. And I've actually heard somebody else reflect this back to me as well, where they said their friends were really uncomfortable drinking around them because they would always remember what happened the next day. And I'm like, if we're so embarrassed around what we do when we're drinking, then why do we do it? Like, why do we let ourselves get to that point where we will be embarrassed by it if we remembered it? So I found that really interesting, and I noticed, how uncomfortable it made others that I wasn't drinking. And even like my family aren't a big drinking family, but they still bring it up and be like, oh, you won't even have a drink with us. I'm like, no. But we have gotten to this stage, my partner drinks, which is fine. He has a couple of drinks every now and then. And we'll share a non-alcoholic wine. And I never used to like get that, but honestly, it tastes good. But I haven't drank wine in so long. I can't do beer because of gluten, but there's these really nice organic non-alcoholic wines that we'll get a bottle every now and then when we're having a date, so we can just share a glass. And he loves that, like that experience of just like sharing a wine together, even though it's not alcoholic. It's just the joy of sharing with somebody else. And I don't know how our society got to a space of where it had to be alcohol that we had to share. And like, we'll have cacao together, and that's a beautiful experience too. And I think I just started to find other ways of like enjoying spending time with people. And I did start to realize as well how much of our lives do revolve around drinking. Like, you go out for dinner and have a drink, or you meet up with friends and have a drink. And I was single at the time, so it was even trying to work out how to date people without drinking, because so many dates revolved around alcohol. And it really gets you back out into nature. I found that was like one of the biggest things, because like, cool, let's just go for a hike or something, and we'll go for a walk along the beach. So it gets you back out there and doing something different. And I think, again, that's why I went so deep into the spiritual path, because where I was living on a Friday night, they would have sound healings, which was beautiful. And I still love a good sound healing. I'm actually going to one next week for part of a birthday, which will be amazing. But I just found other ways to spend my time. And like, one of my best friends in Perth, I would shout out, if you're watching, you know who you are. We would go and do yoga together on a Sunday afternoon. And then we'd like grab a pizza, and my partner would come and join us, and we'd go and have a pizza. And it was so nice. It's so wholesome. And I started to realize that I was having better connections with people. My friendships felt more real. And it's funny, when you change something in your life, you start to attract other people. Like, most of my friends didn't drink. I don't really have any friends in this new place, probably because it is a very large drinking culture here. So that's probably why I haven't found any of my people. But it's just interesting. You'd connect with somebody and then you'd be like, oh yeah, I don't drink. And they're like, oh, neither do I. And yeah, you started to be more drawn to those people and have those interactions. And they just were such deeper conversations. And more fulfilling, I found. And I think it's completely changed my life. Like I am like I was still myself, but I'm a completely different version of myself than what I was back then. I've realized I don't like being in social situations, and it's not that I'm not confident. It's just I don't like being in a big group of people. I'd much rather hang out with you one on one and not just talk surface level stuff. I want to share what we think on things that are going on and just how we feel and take it to that next level. I don't want to talk gossip and what's the latest TV show. I found those surface level conversations were just really draining, and social interactions, especially where everyone was drinking, were just exhausting. I was like, everyone's being a bit of an idiot and I'm not getting any value out of these interactions. So I think I realized that I am more of an introvert. I don't know, those introvert, extrovert, like the combo one, because obviously I'm very confident. I can speak to people and I can hold a conversation. I will chat to people at the cafe, but I get energy from being alone, and I thrive spending time alone, being out in nature, and that's how I rebuild my energy. And it takes a lot for me to be on. Like when I used to work as a barista, I would give it my all and give it all my energy, and it was a great experience, but I would have to go and sleep for a couple of hours after that because I was just exhausted. So I realized how much I was just pushing through situations and numbing out to it, and I just didn't have that level of awareness that I didn't enjoy these situations where we would go out like a group of 10 people and drink, and it just, yeah, you don't realize that until you stop. And I'm sure, like, I had so much fun back then, but yeah, I don't know if it was the best choices for me. And I have no regrets because my life has led me to where I am today, and I feel like I've only gotten to this stage because of the life that I lived. But I am concerned about the culture of Australia and the drinking culture. And I think I am noticing it in the younger generation that are coming through, which makes me sound so old. They don't necessarily, not all of them go straight to that drinking life. But I remember when I was like 18, 17, it was just a given, like, oh, now you can drink, you'll drink. Like for somebody to not drink was just like a shock. And I hate that that's the norm, that drinking alcohol is the norm and not drinking makes you weird and different. And some of you watching this, if you've made it that far, you might think I'm really strange because I don't drink alcohol. But to me, it's just normal. And I saw something the other week on Facebook where this woman was like sharing her story about how she doesn't drink, and she was hanging out with another mum from her school, and their kids were having a play date, and the mum kept offering her a drink, and she's like, oh no, maybe later, because she didn't want to admit that she didn't drink because she thought the other person wouldn't like her. I'm like, that's so problematic in so many ways. Like, why can't we just be who we are and own it and not have people judge us for not drinking alcohol? And yes, obviously I'm clearly judging people who drink a little bit, but the fact that we're judged for not drinking just seems so wild when it's such a healthier choice. Like, alcohol is not good for you. It is destroying neural pathways in your brain. Everyone's like, yeah, have a glass of red wine, it's great for your heart. I'm like, no, mate, go for it. Like, go and exercise. That's great for your heart. Like, the small benefit you may get from alcohol, I think all the negative things completely outweigh that. It's just not even a factor for me anymore. And still, I don't know if I'll never have a drink again, but I've always said that unless it was to just have a drink to actually enjoy the drink and that process of like the taste and everything, then I wouldn't do it. And I think now with all the non-alcoholic wines, I don't really see a need for it. So whether I like where I am at in life today, I can't see myself drinking again, but I don't ever want to say never, because I don't know, in 10 years time, I might be reaching alcoholic and then I'll be like, oh, remember that time I shared a video about not drinking, and here we are. But where I am right now, I only see the benefits for not drinking. I don't think there's any negatives to quitting alcohol for me personally. I think it's made me a better person. I've been able to see the patterns in relationships that I had and the dynamics and how I was impacting those and the role that I had in them. And I've been able to do work on myself and focus on other things like meditating and yoga. And I was always a very active person, but I think meditation has helped me to just like be more present in the moment and not react so strongly to what's going on around me. Whereas before, I think I was just existing in life. I wasn't living fully, and I would just react in the moment to things, and I probably had a bit more of a temper, and it just wasn't a good dynamic. So that's my story that gets me here to today. And yeah, no regrets. I love that I have an alcohol-free life, and I love that hopefully one day I'll be able to raise my family around that and teach them that it's okay to not drink and that it doesn't have to be the norm, and that there's so many other things that will bring you true joy. I don't think it brings you true joy. I think it gives you a false sense of bravado and heightens your experiences, but I think you could have that if you were just really present in the moment and enjoyed it. And that's what I found anyway. I've been out dancing to like music that I love and completely enjoyed it. And if I haven't, then I'm like, this isn't the space for me. It's not that I need alcohol for it. It's that I don't want to be here. So just leave. Like, don't be there. Or suck it up and do it anyway. But don't use alcohol as the band-aid to soften that for you. That's my journey to today with drinking. So if you have any questions, drop them below in the comments. And I hope this gave you some insight into who I am, or it gave you some sort of value. And I would love it if you would like and subscribe this and share it with anyone who you think could get value from it. I think next week, hopefully, if I can get organized, I'm going to be sharing an interview with one of my childhood friends, where she's going to share about her journey of a life after trauma. So yeah, tune in next week to see what I bring. And if it's not that, it'll be some other fun adventure or story.